evening. The US presidential election is becoming increasingly uncivil and divisive. US presidential hopeful and Republican frontrunner Donald Trump's rally at Chicago was cancelled on Friday after his supporters clashed with his critics there. A journalist at that rally was detained and accused by one of Donald Trump's supporters of working for the Islamic State, which the journalist has since vehemently denied several times. There was a trouble at Trump's Ohio public meeting too on Sunday when a protester walked up to the stage before being arrested and charged. Trump later claimed that the protester was related to the Islamic State. Democrat Bernie Sanders and Republican Donald Trump have traded barbs with each other over the violence at Trump's Chicago rally, with each accusing the other of being behind the violence. The violence, threats and incendiary statements on the campaign trail raise the question, why has the campaign fallen to such lows, and how will this impact the race for the White House and the American polity? So to discuss what this means for the US presidential election, for Democrats, for Republicans and the people of the United States, we are joined in the studio by Mr. Sreeram Chaulia. He is a professor and dean with Jindal School of International Affairs. We are calling two of them insurgent candidates. But Dr. Chaulia, what do you make of what is being called an uncivil war between Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump? Is this unprecedented? Because some reports suggest that one should not be surprised. We've seen this in the past as well when Ronald Reagan was running for the presidency.
Yeah, but you see, they represent extreme right and extreme left. And historically, these two cannot get along. And so what you're seeing is on race, on class, on ideology, on all these main axes that divide society, America is divided. And this uncivil behavior you're seeing now, and the resort to violence or threats to violence have, in a way, they foreshadow the state of the nation. And they're showing that the recovery from the economic crisis has been feeble. People are dissatisfied at the grassroots, the anger, frustration is boiling over, and the incitement also. There's, especially on the Trump side, they are inciting people to be aggressive and to put down and to, in many ways to silence critics and opponents. So there's a bit of a fascist side to all this, especially on the Republican side. So, and as far as Sanders, grassroots goes, for them it's like a revolution. Whether he gets the nomination or not, this is like the best show that a socialist has ever made in American presidential history. So they want to, go out fighting and go down fighting. So even though Sanders' chances against Clinton are rather marginal in the long run, he's giving her a tough fight, and they are going to use every means. So the more you show that you are up against the enemy, which is the other end of the ideological spectrum, the better your chances are for mobilizing your own flock. So it's a political polarization relies upon defining an enemy and going after them aggressively. So you're seeing that now.
So that could well be the strategy behind what we are seeing now. But if you talk to Donald Trump, and he's been talking about this in several interviews in the US, he says that this shows the angst of the people of the United States towards establishment politics. Sreeram Chaulia, Dr. Chaulia, while Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump are actually crossing swords over the cancellation of Trump's Chicago rally, two primary results came in, one of Washington and the other of Wyoming, and to the surprise of some, Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio won those two primaries. So was that an expected line?
See, Ted Cruz is still very much in contention. He's second in terms of delegates. He's also an anti-establishment candidate, although not as wacko as Donald Trump. So it's possible, I mean, the more you visualize him, it's possible that he may get the nomination eventually in 3 to 4 months. Because
you were betting on Marco Rubio earlier.
I thought he was a dark horse because he's the mainstream candidate. He's the closest to the center and is more acceptable to the Republican Party, bigwigs and the establishment. But it looks like the sentiment of the voters is so much, it's like throw the rascals out kind of mood, right now they're totally against the party establishment, and therefore Rubio's star seems to be fading. But Ted Cruz is very much in there, and I think if he pulls off a couple of big wins, I think if it is one-on-one between Ted Cruz and Donald Trump, in terms of argumentation, in terms of policy expertise, in terms of authenticity, I think he will be the clear winner. So in the long run, Hillary Clinton versus Ted Cruz presidential race will be interesting because Cruz is younger. He's, he could break Hillary Clinton's Hispanic constituency. There are so many factors that go into, eventually who will vote in November. and maybe there's an anti-incumbency factor against the Democratic White House. So it's possible. But if Trump gets it, for whatever, as the miracle has been going on, even though people have predicted that it is just a temporary, phenomenon.
Right.
If Trump gets it, then, I think Clinton will carry through easily.
Is at stake for Republicans and Democrats as far as the 5 big primaries and Super Tuesday 2 is concerned? Is there more at stake for Republicans and Democrats?
Well, more people, it's like a winnowing process. As the 3rd, 4th, 5th place, contenders will start dropping out, and already some have dropped out. So I'm expecting, that
maybe you could be next.
It could be like a 2-man race in the next couple of months, as it clears. But nonetheless, if you look at the larger picture, what it shows is no matter who wins the presidency, these protest candidates have made their point, which is that it cannot be politics as usual. And in a way, it's in a strange way, extreme left and extreme right are calling back for a kind of a re-democratization of the American polity, which seems to have gotten into elite hands, the excess concentration of wealth, the inaccessibility of leaders to the general public. So in a way, after a rather successful presidency of Obama, we are likely to get a president who will be under pressure to conform to the anger and the mood at the grassroots. So I think there's a lot of healing process that will be required after this very, very bruising electoral battle.
Okay, thank you so much, Meera Shankar, Dr. Stuti Banerjee and Dr. Sreeram Chaulia for having joined us for this discussion tonight.